A game bedtime story, Midra, Lord of Frenzied Flame, a character with the purest love in the Elden Ring game. He was originally a highly respected scholar among the Horned Warriors, but was killed by his own kind for being tainted by the Frenzied Flame, and was eternally punished by the great sword of damnation piercing through his head. Enduring the pain of being pierced and his wife's endure made Midra suffer for many years. When we explore the deep forest at the bottom of the Abyssal Woods, a manse emerges from the mist with a strange atmosphere, a gloomy environment, and headless corpses in front of the door. All seem to be telling us to leave this manse. We continue to move forward and push open the door of the manse. At that moment, a voice trembling with fear comes in our ears.
Leave. Come no closer. No closer, I say.
We are very confused by him. Why do they want us to leave? We just got in. While we are puzzled, we find a spirit standing in the middle of the hall. And after talking with it, we learn that this man belongs to his master, Midra. And the voice just now comes from his master. That's his master's warning to us. However, we are the Elden Lord. Of course, we will not leave. After carefully observing the burnt hall, we find a painting on the wall, which is particularly eye-catching. And the painting is the whole appearance of this manse. But it's strange that the manse in the painting is surrounded by plants, a peaceful and warm scene full of vitality, which is in sharp contrast to the silence when we came. The more strange the place, the more problems there are. After we cut the painting in half by a knife swing, it turns out to be a hidden door behind it, and there are many rooms hidden behind the door. It can be seen that Midra should be a scholar, with burned bookshelves and scattered books everywhere. Why was this manse destroyed like this? We continue to move forward without, and when we come to the second room, a flame suddenly falls, and the flame spreads in all directions. We naturally recognize this as the terrifying Frenzied Flame. As we continue to move forward, we find a lever at the end of the room. After pulling the lever, we find that the structure of the room has changed. There is a secret passage hidden here. Climbing the ladder, we come to the second floor of the manse and see a spirit holding his head with both hands kneeling on the ground. Interacting with it, we learn that Midra and his subordinates were harmed by the same clan. At this time, we notice that all the creatures in the manse have horns on their heads, so Midra is a member of the Horned Warriors. Although we know that the Horned people are cruel to other races, why do they persecute their own kind? We continue to move forward with doubts. On the corpse not far away, we found a rock, and this is the Frenzied Flame we encountered on the first floor just now. Through the item description, we know that the Frenzied Flame will melt the spirits, which is also the reason why the Horns hate and dislike the Frenzied Flame. With doubts, we continue to move forward, and finally, we found the second site of grace in this gloomy manse. Just as we were about to activate the site of grace, we heard a scream again. We heard a scream again, and before we could explore where the sound came from, we found that there were many shadow undead patrolling around. After solving all the shadow undead, we came to the end of the room and saw a huge painting at the end, depicting an old man. Next to the old man is a young girl, and the girl has her hand on the old man's shoulder. From that, we can tell that their relationship seems very close. I guess this old man should be the master of this manse, Midra, right? Is this girl Midra's daughter? After cutting the painting with a sword, the painting disappeared, and it turned out to be another hidden door. After climbing the ladder to the second floor, we found another lever, and after pulling the lever, the bookshelf moved again. Passing through the obstacles, we found a dead body sitting on a chair on the second floor. Through her clothes, we can recognize that it's the girl in the painting. On her body, we picked up a torch. The item description tells us that the girl's name is Nanaya, and this torch is made of human slime. The Frenzied Flame on the front end of the torch is about to disappear, and those who are too weak to become the Lord of the Frenzied Flame will be swallowed by the Frenzied Flame and eventually die. Coming to the innermost room on the second floor of the manse, we finally saw the master of the manor, Midra. This is a room without a trace of candlelight. The room is large and spacious, with traces of being burned by the Frenzied Flame on the ground. The whole room is full of a dark atmosphere, and the only light comes from a small window at the top. Without it, there's no light. As time passes, Midra has long become a mummy that is neither dead nor alive. He looks ferocious and no longer has the appearance of a normal person. His head was pierced by a golden sword from top to bottom, and his body was pierced by spikes all over. He was in such a state that we don't know how long Midra had been alone in this room, in such creepy state. Just thinking totally freaks us out. Seriously, no joke. When we walked into the room, Midra's totally ticked off, because we ignored his warning and just rocked up here anyway.
Depths of your foolishness!
He rushed towards us like crazy, but because he was pierced by the sword all over his body, the action is very inconvenient, and Midra this time seems very weak. We knocked him to the ground with just a few attacks, and just as we thought we had defeated Midra, Midra suddenly got up.
We have endured more than enough. I ask you forgive me, dearest Nanaya.
After pulling out the great sword of damnation, Midra released the power of the Frenzied Flame. He became the lord of the Frenzied Flame, but he was too weak. He was still defeated by us, and then we explored the surrounding area of the manse and found the notes written by the craftsman who had served Midra. We learned that Nanaya is Midra's wife. In Midra's remembrance, we saw that the golden barbs not only suppressed Midra's Frenzied Flame, it also brought him eternal endless pain. However, Nanaya always let Midra endure this pain. There is also a sentence in the remembrance saying that the word endure itself was a curse. In Nanaya's light, we learn that the torch next to Nanaya's body was born in ancient times. It does not belong to the land of shadows, and all those who are blessed by the Frenzied Flame but are too weak will be swallowed by the mad flame and eventually die. From the description of all that remains of him is cradled gently by Nanaya, we can infer that Nanaya is a believer in the Frenzied Flame, and she also knows that Midra is too weak, that he cannot bear the power brought by the Frenzied Flame. Therefore, she's been accompanying Midra, staying with him, telling Midra to endure the pain until he can fully control the Frenzied Flame. And this wait does not know how long. Until Nanaya died, there was no such day. And Midra has been bearing this pain alone for a lifetime. Until we finally arrive, we help Midra get relief. And thus Midra's story is over. Midra's side mission does not affect the main line. Will you choose to help him relieve from this pain? Thank you for your support for the Game Bedtime story series. Remember to like and subscribe.